Hello, what's up? Welcome to my very first video. Um, this is going to be a video about myself, about my perception towards life, about different things, about different topics. It's going to get better. I'm new to this, and it's to know oneself and to know and to get maybe awareness to people who have mental illness and well, mostly people who are bipolar. And the people who are bipolar tend to have a certain artistic flair to them. Some say that they're connected to the spiritual world, whether it's true or not, whether it's in their head or not, but they always tend to vibrate towards heaven and hell and angels and demons and whatever. Regardless of that point, I'm going to just start reflecting on myself, and I figured if I help with this video, maybe other people understand me. Um, I like hearing my voice, so it's just the best way to do it. Like I tried writing, but I always throw out the pages and stuff. So I figured if I put it in video and maybe put it public eventually, maybe people actually listen, and maybe I could get awareness throughout that way. Um, so who am I? Deep questions to ask yourself in your journal. That's what I want to start off this video with. My first video is we're going to start off with that topic of who am I, and also talk about myself. And I guess I'm hoping throughout making these videos I'll get better, and my conversation wise I'll develop different topics and entertain you in certain ways, and just keep me busy, keep me sane, keep me from relapsing. Hopefully you get funny, hopefully you get serious, whole different topics and stuff. I just hopefully you can relate to me, and I can show you that we're not people who are dealing with this disease, bipolar, are not so crazy after all. They're just extremely in tune with themselves and with the world around them. So it's gonna make me feel better. It's almost like a diary session, I guess. I'm hoping it's kind of got like a podcast feel to it. Um, it's my way of healing and my way of sharing my story. So it's gonna get deep. It's gonna get funny. It's gonna get serious. It's gonna get all sorts of topics: spirituality, religion, science. This video is basically just going to be about me and basically an introduction to myself and why I think you should listen and my perception of reality. Anyway, who am I? Deep questions to ask yourself in your journal. What are you most likely very wrong about? I think it's my vision of what people have of me. I think I'm very hard on myself. I think some people see me the way I do, the way I think, like, as a negative person, as a person who is very demanding and very, I take more than I give. At least that's the perception I give. But I think in reality, I think people know that I'm a very generous person when the time comes. Like when you need my time, I'm always there for anybody who asks for it. Um, if you're going through anything in your life in general, I'm always the first one people usually go to talk to about it. Um, and if I'm having a good day, if I'm on a roll in life, I'll tend to shut up and just listen. Problem with that is if you share too much, I tend to explode with information, and sometimes I don't go about it the right way. But in general, when I'm healthy, I'm probably very, very um, considerate, very um, understanding. I've been through hell and back. I've been through paradise and back. I've seen a lot of good and bad in people. I tend to see the best in people, even though they don't treat me all that well. But I'll always be there to listen, no matter how hardcore your story is. And I've heard some hardcore stories, very hardcore, um, the worst possible stories, and I never said a word to anybody about it. Um, I'm very open book. I'm very open. I'm willing to hear anything. I'm intrigued by people. People entertain me. I think people are interesting. And I think I'm very private when it comes to certain topics. But in general, what are you most likely very wrong about? The way people perceive me. I think I see myself in a very negative light when really I project positivity. At least to the people who really know me. What chapters would you separate your autobiography into? Oh, heaven, hell, and earth. I think I've walked, being bipolar with manic episodes, you tend to have very highs and very lows, and and when you're medicated, you're on an even keel. And I think I've stepped through with drugs, obviously too, but I think drugs just skyrocket me into another world that I don't think you can easily. It's hard to describe. But heaven, hell, and earth are probably the three chapters that I would describe my life in, because I think I've walked, whether it was literally, metaphorically, or just in my own head. I feel like I've walked through all three wakes of life: heaven, hell, and earth. Um, when I say that is because um, when I was 15, I had a very spiritual awakening. I had taken some MDMA or ecstasy. It was ecstasy back then, but now it's MDMA. Regardless, and the first time I took it, I was 15, and I remember my eyes rolling in the back of my head, and then I was laying on my back, and I would just swing myself like this, and into nothingness. I could feel my spirit rise up into the sky and flying out into the ocean, like into the open space. And all I can hear in the background was a song, "Can't Stop Me Now. I'm having such a good time. I'm having a ball." Like the Queen song, "Can't Stop Me Now." And I was just flying through space, reaching the heavens, and I was feeling like amazing. I felt like I felt unstoppable. I felt like I was traveling through the heavens and leaving Earth completely. I don't know how long I was in that state of mind, but I know my cousin was looking down on me. And when I snapped out of it, I told him, like, where the fuck was I? He's like, I don't know where you were, Bob, but all I know is you were happy because you were smiling like a motherfucker. And and then throughout that summer, I asked myself a question, as this these questions are actually, as the name of these questions are, like, who am I? And when I asked myself that question, who am I? The answer came to me: I'm God, here to create peace. And for that entire summer, I literally thought that I was God and I was walking in heaven. It was the most out of body experience, craziest out of body experience that I've ever witnessed. It felt great. It felt like the world was mine. It was a sense of power, excitement. The energy that I felt was unreal. Like, it was a manic episode, obviously, because obviously no man should go through that. That's way too much power for one person. But I literally thought people were gonna, like, start calling me by that name and bow down to me. Like, I saw it as like a power trip. My head just got huge, fucking huge. I wanted people to fucking worship the ground I walked on. It was. I took it from being like this shy, sensitive guy to being this arrogant. You're in my world. Nothing's gonna stop me from owning it. And it was like, I'm not gonna lie, it was the greatest physical feeling and mental state that I've ever been in. Obviously, you can't stay sane like that forever. I mean, people ask you, "What are you doing?" I'm like, "Well, I think I'm God. I think I'm here to create peace on Earth." And you actually, literally feel like that's the truth. And you put me to a lie detector test, and I'll tell you, like, I actually thought I was God and felt like I was God for like the longest time, for an entire summer, until I got locked up in a psych ward to calm the fuck down and take my pills. But it was a great experience. But, like, now, like, if you would ask me to take that drug again, I'd tell you, go fuck yourself, because I don't. It scares the shit out of me. Like, last time I took it, I was talking to trees, and I was completely out of it. I'd black out. So, what chapters would you separate your autobiography into? Heaven, hell, and earth. I think I've walked through all the steps, but I'll go more into detail of that with the other videos. What are some of the things you had to unlearn? Unlearn. What are some of the things you've had to unlearn? I've had to let go of the highs. I had to let go of chasing the highs and stop dwelling on the lows. Like, I guess I don't know if that makes sense, but stop chasing highs. Like that one high was never going to be achievable again, no matter where I looked, no matter where I went. That high that I introduced, that I felt that time was never to come back to me. Um, it it manifests itself in other ways. Like it came back to me in other functions of life, in other aspects of life. Never to that level, never to that artificial level. But I guess it was just to never chase the high again. At least not um, artificially. Like get rid of drugs. Like the the addiction state is just not good. It puts you when you're bipolar. It's like a um, it's almost like an allergy. It like amplifies a million. So it goes straight to your head and you start acting differently, you're talking differently, whether it's coke, ecstasy, speed, weed. Your brain just turns on and you go into a completely different world. So unlearn addiction, like unlearn chasing that high, I guess if that makes any sense. Um, what could you give a 40-minute presentation on with absolutely no preparation? My life story. Um, I think I've lived an extremely interesting life. Is very, I was going to say lonely, not lonely, but very in my own frame of mind. I wouldn't change my life with anybody. And most people would look at me, most of my family members would see me and be like, I wouldn't want that life for anybody. But I completely appreciate the person that I've become. I really admire what I've done, the things that I've learned, the things that I've been through, the people that I've met, and I honestly would not change my life for anybody. As much as being bipolar is sometimes the hardest thing in the world, it's as hard as it is, it's also a blessing because as low as you go, you always get a little boost of energy, a little high every now and then, and it gets you in surprising in different ways. But once you get that high, it's everything's kind of worth it. Um, but the lows are incredible. But I mean, it's basically my life story. I think I could give a 40 minute presentation on my life. It was like I've been on the streets, I've skated, I've met celebrities, I've uh, I've skated with Olympic gold medalists. I've played hockey with NHLers on the same team. Um, uh, I thought I was God. I thought I was the devil. I've I've been told I was God on multiple times. I've had beautiful girlfriends. I've been on the streets. I've been rich. I've been poor. I've worked hard. I've been lazy. I've had free money. I've worked hard for money. Um, I raised myself. I'm a product of myself. Ever since I could walk, I've been on my own. I've had to look for food, look for friends, look for shelter, look for this, look for that. And 40 minutes on my life story, and I'm sure every teenager would be able to make their own decisions, and I think they'd be making the right ones. I'm very humbled to be alive because I've tried to take my own life 4 times in 24 hours. Sometimes I wonder if I'm still alive. I actually think to myself almost every day whether I'm actually a walking dead. Hence the shirt. And I wonder if I'm not dead man walking, if I'm not already in hell. It's just hell in a bad place to be, quoting ACDC. But no, I think my life story would be probably a 40 minute presentation, easy, and I think it'd be a good fucking story. What question would you most like to know the answer to? I'd like to know my status in the afterlife. I do believe in the afterlife very deeply, but I wonder which side I'm going on. As cocky as it sounds, I know whatever side I'm on, I'm going to be very comfortable in that my position. It's going to be a position of high power. I'll be sitting at a very high table, because of my understanding of both worlds and what I've seen and what I've been through and what I've been told by humans and people and psychiatrists and what I've seen and been through, I think I have the knowledge and the some the I think I've seen life in a way that like I'm very knowledgeable towards common sense, towards basic instinct, and towards basic life itself. And I think I have a lot to give to the undead, if you will, if you permit me to talk crazy. But I think in the afterlife I'm very valuable, whether I'm Satan, God, or just a judge, or an angel, or or demon. I don't think it's going to be a painful process. I don't think I'm going to be suffering much. I think I'll be in a position of high power, whether I'm doing good in an evil place or good in a good place. I think wherever I end up, it's going to be decent. So I was misleading the question. The question was, what question would you most like to know the answer to? Is where will I end up in the afterlife? I've always wanted to be in the big chair, whether it's up or down. Sometimes I wonder if my place is here on Earth as the greatest human of all time. What makes me so great is my simplicity towards humans and my understanding of everything, my basic knowledge. Again, I'm being cocky, but deep down, I've seen things, known things, I've been told things that leads me to believe that I'm very important. So whether one person sees this or two people sees this, my true self will come out of this. Uh, if you didn't have to sleep, what would you do with the extra time? If I didn't have to sleep, what would I do with the extra time? I'd probably do these videos more often. I'd probably just talk all night and just let it out. Um, I think I have a lot to say. I think I have to show my true self, and I just can't be shy about it. Like, see now, like my girlfriend's in the other room, and I'm nervous about what she's hearing and stuff. Like, just that's making me nervous. But I gotta get a comfort in my own self. I gotta be self-aware, and this video is gonna help me do that. And I think by doing more of these videos all the time, it's gonna help me feel better and gain more self-knowledge about myself. And it's gonna help me help people, and that's my basic. I mean, I've done that my whole life. Like, I'm on disability. I'm not disabled. Like, I can work, but I make invalid money. I'm invalid technically to work, so I make a decent amount of money. Not a lot. I'm still poor, considering money status, but I have enough to live. In a couple, I pay my dues, I pay my share, and I still have money left over to save. So I just got to learn to manage. Um, don't spend on useless stuff. But I'm almost there. Like, I'm getting better every day, and I think with these videos, it's gonna help me. So it'd be the question was, what did I do? If you didn't have to sleep, what would you be doing? It'd probably be these videos more often. Even though this is the first one, I think there'll be many more. Why did you decide to do what you are doing now in your life? I don't think I decided to do anything in my life. I think it just kind of happened. I always thought I was going to be a rock star or some sort of celebrity or a millionaire or rich or famous. But I think it's in the simple things that I'm going to succeed in life. You know, I think it's just keeping at it, keep doing what I'm doing. Um, I think everything fell into place. I think everything falls in line, no matter which way you're heading. And I like where I'm at. It's tough sometimes, but I really do think that I'm in a good place. I think I'm on the right track. I think these video diaries are going to help me out very, very much. Keep my sane so I don't flip the shit and go manic episode on everybody's asses. But I think I have a lot to share, a lot to give, And I think with my past experience and what I've been through, I think a lot of people are gonna hopefully appreciate me. Maybe my family will understand where I'm from, where I'm coming from. I've aged quite a bit. I'm 30 years old now. It's not time to look back. It's time to look forward. And I don't work. And to be honest with you, I don't really want to work. I'd love for this to be my job, and I like to have a following, whether it's two, three, four, 1,000, 10,000, 100,000, a million. I'd love to have a following, to people that actually gets me, people that actually understands me, people who like me, people who want to hear from me. Hell, even people who hate me. Tell me why you hate me. Maybe I can get better. So again, the question was, why did you decide to do what you're doing now in your life? I wanted to do it because it was time to get my message across, to get my opinions across, to hear myself speak, to hear what I have to say. Because sometimes I speak and I forget what I say, but I tend to give good advice. So I'd like to leave something behind, whether it's on the web, for my family, for my fans, my future fans, my invisible fans for now. But I think it's time to make videos and to let myself speak. What's the best and worst piece of advice you've ever received? Uh, the best advice I've received was from one of my most a spiritual guide that I met for a brief time. He told me just let things be and everything will be easy. He said just let it be, let things happen as they may. Um, I was on the streets a year ago, and today I have a beautiful apartment, a beautiful girlfriend, and every um, everything I have physically, I don't need anymore. I'm always eating. My belly's always full. Got water to drink all the time for sure. TV, computer, phone, PlayStation. I got everything I need in life. Now it's just finding something that I want to do. So the best advice I ever gotten was just let things be and everything will fall into place. And the worst message I've ever received uh, was to get a job. Because I haven't worked since I was 18 and I'm 30. That's 12 years. 12 years of, I've worked here and there, but I've always hated working. And I get free money to live my life. As selfish as that is, who shits on free money? And when you make more than enough, when you can save money and still have everything you need. To me, if you could find happiness with very little, you'll find happiness with a lot if it ever comes to you. And I think getting a job is just something that I'm not looking forward to and that I'm not excited about. And if I'm not excited about something, I tend not to do it. When I'm excited about something, I tend to succeed at it. I tend to project myself into something bigger, whether it's hockey, school, reading, singing. When I apply myself to something I like, I really, really, really enjoy it, and I tend to succeed in it. If I like what I do, I tend to be great at it. So, finding a job is not something I want. It's a career that I'm after. Okay. What's the most impactful no you said recently? What's the most impactful no you said recently? No to finding a job and just sticking to what I have. At least for now. And now I'm just focusing on finding myself. being happy with what I have. And if you don't like what I have to offer, then you can walk away at any point. I'm not going to change for anybody. I'm not going to do things because someone else asked me to. I think it's time for me to think about myself more than anybody. I gotta stop doing things for other people and doing things for myself and do what makes me happy. Even though it makes other people uncomfortable, I gotta do it for myself. And people would say that I've accomplished very little in my life. When I say people, I mean mostly family and people who know me and Facebook friends because they saw me go crazy once. But I've accomplished massive amounts of things. I've seen massive amounts of things. I've been through, felt things, seen things that not many people can survive. And I've got a lot to say and a lot to live for. And I just want my message to be across. And I don't want to work. That's a no for me. I want something that I'm happy with. And doing these videos like this is going to make me happy. So if I'm not making sense, I'm sorry. But if you're getting the gist of where I'm headed, then amen for you. What was the most stressful experience of your life? Oh, okay. This requires an explanation. I said before that I once thought I was God. Okay. And I also met somebody that felt like I was talking to God. Like the way he spoke to me, it felt like I was talking to the voice of reason. It felt like I was talking to him. Having said that, I also felt like I was Satan. Like literally felt like I was Satan. Put me to a lie detector test and asked me that question. Have you ever thought you were Satan? And I will answer yes. Have you ever felt you were Satan? I said yes. Have you ever lost control of your body and thought you were Satan? Yes. And I've also met someone that reminded me that looked like it was like if you were to picture Satan as a human, that's like the image I have of this guy is what it would be. And after I met the guy that sounded like the voice of reason that reminded me of what God would look or sound like if I spoke to him, I met this other guy that's the same in the same week. And he was he had no hair. Yeah, he was a excuse he had no hair on his head, no fingernails. He was jacked. Like he did I think it was 10 years in the federal prison for robbing a bingo. They made him eat shit in jail. Like he was just evil. He'd suck the life right out of you. He wanted to sleep with his nieces. He would just the worst type of person. He'd give me cigarettes, and then when I'd smoke him, he'd come back and he'd give me shit. He'd threaten to kill me. He threatened me every fucking day. I moved in with him out of the blue. He needed someone to move in with, and I just looked at him. And I was like, yep. Instead of analyzing what I was getting into, I just jumped into it. And like was with time, I was like, dude, this guy is the root of all evil. As good as I felt like when I was high and flying on ecstasy, that was bringing me right down to the hell, the, the pit of the earth. I felt so shitty about myself, and that's when I did the four attempts on my life, and I was so stressed out. I was I went into a manic depressive phase where I just wanted to die and disappear, and that's kind of how I think that I landed on Earth so bad. Because every time I tried hanging myself, the rope broke, and I landed on my feet. I tried drowning myself, and I saw a white light come out, and it scared the shit out of me. So I went back to shore. I took, I'm not sure if it was 500 or 1,000 Tylenol, like a huge bottle that you get behind the counter that they give you of Tylenol, and I chugged the whole fucking thing. And I'm still around to talk about it. So I kind of have this feeling that I've crossed over on both sides, and they set me back. They set me back. They set me back. And it's with medication that I'm able to stay level-headed, but those memories and thoughts are always there. So my most stressful situation in my life is when I thought I was hanging out with the devil. Okay. Is there something that you've dreamt of doing for a long time? Why haven't you done it? Podcast. Podcast, I've been thinking about it for a few years now. Um, Although this is a very um, basic video, and hopefully I'm going to get a microphone and my sound quality is going to be better, and I'm going to do a bit better job doing these things, and I'm going to get better expressing myself and talking about different topics. But um, I think I consider this a podcast, a one-man podcast, and I think I hope that the right people get to hear it. I hope people understand where I'm coming from. People want to hear it. Hopefully it catches on. Um, I think I'm very level-headed. I think I got something to say. And once I go into detail about my life in particular, I think people are gonna want to hear it. I've written it down many times, but I tend to lose the pages. And with broadcasting the way it is and internet the way it is, I think the best way is just to say it out loud, record it, and put it out there so people to hear. And hopefully I can meet people that way. Hopefully people see me that way. But this first video is me living my dream, as simple as it is. Because it's like a diary. It's just me shooting shit about myself, and I don't like. I find people boring, and their topics are never what I want to talk about. They're never at the same level of what I want to talk about. They're never at the same level. They're never at the same subject that I want to talk about. So who better to talk about these things than myself and to myself? So believe it or not, I'm living the dream right now, and hopefully there's more to come. What would you like to change about your family? The hypocrisy. Um, I live with a family of hypocrites. Everybody and I kind of do it too. Like, I'm not putting myself out there, like, not to their extent, but like in general, my family is a bunch of hypocrites. They'll talk shit behind each other's backs. They'll do things to get their own way. Uh, um, they're greedy people in general. Not all of them. There's some good eggs in my family, but in general, they're very greedy and hypocritical people. It's hard to respect people. I love every single one of them, but I wouldn't die for every single one of them. It's sad, but it's true. And they're quick to judge me for the way I've done things, the way I've said things, the way I've expressed myself. I've been left out of a lot of things, but I've been real and I've been honest, and they've opened up to me and said a lot of things to me. I'm aware of a lot of things. They take me for an idiot, but I'm one of the. I'm not a dumbass. They take me for a silly bean, but I'm not as silly as they think. I'm highly intelligent, and I'm very calm now, anyway. And sometimes, like when I lose my shit, when I'm off my meds, I go a little crazy. But I mean, lately I've been really calm. I'm very mellow, and I'm very what's the word I'm looking for? I'm aware. People talk a lot when they're drunk. People say things, and I don't forget much. I don't forget the important things or what's important to me. Family's always been important to me until I realized that money's the lead of everything. Money runs the show. Money is the biggest cancer on earth, and money is killing this world. Anyway, what was the question? What would you change about your family? Hypocrisy and their love for money. What was a place or event that transformed your ideas, thinking, perspective, or made you come alive in a new way? What changed? Okay, let me read that question again. What was a place or event that transformed your ideas, thinking, perspective, or made you come alive in a new way? What changed? Um, it's what I meant my spiritual. I say spiritual guide, but I prefer using the term friend. His name was Tony. Tall, black guy. Black American, if you will. I think that's the proper term now, anyway. But he did a stint in the army, and when I was homeless, he got kicked out of his girlfriend's house, and he was looking for shelter too. And we met up in my hometown in a homeless shelter for abused men. And let me just take a cigarette here. That was in my mid-20s, so I might have been 24, 25, 26, about 25 maybe. About 10 years after my God session. And I completely forgot about, like, I was no longer thinking I was God, okay? I completely put that chapter in my life and buried it and never brought it out again. I never had that feeling again arise. But one day, we were outside, chilling in the backyard of the house. And I was drinking a coffee. And we had never spoken before. We never made contact. Obviously, I noticed him because he's the only black guy there in a very white town. And, you know, and whatever. And I finished my coffee and I went back inside. And when I opened the door, I froze for a split second and I stared at my coffee and I got a moment of deja vu. Not a long one, just a slight deja vu moment. I stared at my cup, froze, and I went back inside, cleaned my cup, left it there, came back out. As I step outside, this guy stares at me with huge fucking eyes and looks at me. Bob! Bob! I guess he must have heard my name. He's like, Bob, did you see that? I'm like, what? Did you see that? I'm like, what? You had wings behind you, man. They were so huge and beautiful. You had a golden army behind, like, around you, pushing everybody aside. A huge golden army. You were beautiful. You were beautiful. And I was like, what the fuck is this guy talking about? And for about a week, he just told me that everything was going to be perfect. Everything was going to fall into place. He described heaven to me. He said, you have a house in paradise as big as Canada. So when you walk on your grass, every step you take, it massages your feet. You have children in your garden that ride lions. It was described it to a T. And you said one day you'll see a spaceship. He said, soon you'll see a spaceship. He's like, look, there's one now. He says, all you heard was a sound, but you didn't see anything right in the sky. So you just heard a buzzing sound. He's like, there's one now. I'm like, yeah, right, whatever the fuck. Anyway, and he told me I was going to see one. And I shit you not, put me to a lie detector test, and I promise I will pass. I was kicked out for a night because I was drinking. I wanted to go drink, and you weren't allowed alcohol there. So if you drank, you had to be sober for 24 hours, and then they'll let you in. So I spent the night outside, and I was sitting on a bench next to a one-armed guy, a guy that I'd met in the hospital years back. He had one arm, and we were sitting there staring at a statue. And all we could see was two lights like this in a triangle form. We just saw three flashing lights, right above our heads, super close to our heads. And we heard a machine. A huge machine just working fucking loud right above our heads, way too loud to be a drone. And it was only it was like an invisible ship with three bright lights and a huge sound right above our head. At first I was fucking petrified. Then I was like, you know what, relax. I gave him a peace sign, and it just went above our head and flashed on. And then, and then, there's, again, I was hanging out with him. I came back and I told him, like, dude, you're fucking right, dude. I'm pretty sure I saw, like could be crazy. Maybe it was my imagination. Feel free to be skeptical, but I'm telling you what I saw. And I told him, he was like, I told you, Bob. I told you, you know who you are. You know who you are. Just be you, Bobby. Just let things be. Anyway, and I got a high again. I got like, and I was taking my medication, and I was still getting. I was like feeling it. I was like, damn, maybe I'm, maybe I am down to do special things. Maybe I am supposed to do fucking great things. And anyway, and eventually, like we took a walk to we took a walk together. Our final day together once before he left. We took a walk in Park Sauve, which translate to Park Save. And I'm gonna end it on this note. To Park Save, and we were walking, and the girl that was working at the uh, the house where we were staying kept on telling everybody needs to shower. Everybody needs to start taking showers. It's hot out there. It's humid. Take showers. Take showers. She kept on talking about that. We're like, what the fuck, dude? Like, we're grown men. We know how to take showers or whatever. I didn't think of anything of it. Anyway, as we're walking, like through the park to get to the bank, I get I smell what smelled like shit. Okay, and I'm like, Tony, you smell that? I'm like, what? It smells like shit, dude. I, and then he smells underneath his armpits. He smells underneath his armpits. He goes, "Holy shit, Bobby, it's me." In his Mexican, in his not a Mexican, but his Jamaican accent. I'm like, "It's me, Bobby." I'm like, "Oh shit!" And I start laughing hysterically. Okay, I couldn't keep it in. I kept pointing at him and laughing. It was rude, but he understood, and I just couldn't help it. It was the biggest fucking laugh of my life and the longest laugh. It was so genuine, pure, and filled with so much joy. It was unfucking real. I had cramps. I laughed for about I want to say at least 3 to 4 kilometers of just little pointing and laughing at him because I just couldn't stop. He tried to go to the bank at the counter, and I was laughing at him in front of people at the bank. I was rolled up and almost in a ball, nearly rolling on the floor, laughing at him, and he couldn't even do it because he had to leave. He left quickly because he was so embarrassed. But I just couldn't stop, and he made me laugh so fucking hard, and it was such a real laugh. It was beautiful. And then I woke up the next day, took a walk, smoked a bit of weed, came back, and he was gone. And that's the last I ever saw him. And that was a moment where things kind of my brain opened up, and I didn't need drugs to get that feeling back every now and then. I'd get it randomly, and I still do. I get little highs, little jolts of what you might be in the next life, and it makes me feel good. Like whether it's true or not, whether I am who I think what I might be, whether he was right, whether I'm wrong, whether it's true or not, like it doesn't matter, because it's how I feel inside, and everybody feels differently about themselves. But it just made me feel good, and it was good to feel like that sober without without the need of drugs, and have someone believe in something that you believed in years ago. So he thinks that I'm something special, and he thinks things are. He knew things that were gonna come easy. He wasn't right on all things. He was, no one's perfect, but 80% of the things he told me came true, and I'll always have a doubt in my head of who I might be. And I think with time, with these videos, maybe it'll clarify. Maybe it won't. Maybe you'll think I'm crazy. Maybe you'll think I'm sane. But I'm going to continue doing these videos, and it's going to be a pleasure to maybe for you guys to maybe listen to them, enjoy them, and I'll end this session here. But thanks for listening, and I hope you are entertained, and there'll be more to come. Bobby Morningstar out.